Welcome to another edition of Resilient Living Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. This is episode 5, and it's Resilient Living versus Technology. Pardon the background noise. This is my mobile studio, my 96 F350 pickup truck, and we are on our work commute here to Carlsbad, California, and we're going to get the show off today, which is 05, as I said, Resilient Living versus Technology. So today's theme was inspired by the hacks that we've had here in the United States, where the pipeline that goes all the way from the East Coast to Texas got hacked and shut everything down. I guess as of today, this is the second, we're going into the second week of May 2021. And I guess it's affected it's rustled up a lot of feathers, disrupted a lot of things. And but that's not the only one we have. We have a complete entire hospital chain, from what I've heard. I didn't look into it much because I don't really have the time, but I guess they can't use their computer systems. Everything's got to be done by hand, by paper. This is kind of a scary thing. This theme is also brought because about a year ago, there was a little town, what is it called there? I got on my show notes, in Florida called Oldsmar, Florida. This is the water department that supplies the drinking water for the whole entire city. Guy gets there in the morning and finds out there's 100 times more of a chemical that is very toxic and lethal, could cause death to the citizens. Somebody hacked the computer, probably just to see if they could do it, and they actually poisoned the water. What if happened if you got up in the morning and went to make yourself a cup of coffee? Next thing you know, you ingested thousands of grams, or whatever you want to call it, parts per millions of some sort of chemical, and you got sick and you died without even knowing it. Now, this pipeline is one thing where that they've hacked. The hospitals, I think that things can be ran by hand. But what if this was overnight and, just grandma got thirsty and went to just drink some water, or your kids or something like that? This is very dangerous. So the theme today, a lot inspired, is by what I'm noticing with technology, with AI. We're in a time right now that I think a lot of people don't know, where AI, robotics, and science, and all of these inventions and all of these innovations and stuff are all starting to come together. And there's really smart people that are putting all these things together, and they're starting to utilize them in business. So see, guys, the supply chain has been disrupted since this whole COVID thing started. I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. I am a business owner, so making purchase on goods, gardening supplies were limited. Roofing supplies have finally hit just now, where actually yesterday I spoke with an individual that I know, and they says they couldn't even get the materials to start a job. They're all out. So yeah, it's been going on, and I think there's a lot of technological advancements going, because guess what? Robots won't get COVID. And I think that's what disrupted a lot of the supply chains, was people getting sick. There's not enough staff to be able to run the slaughterhouses or the water department, or just packaging of goods and things like that. So very scary that we have a lot of technology, such as the AI and stuff like that. I think a lot of people aren't aware of, that's replacing a lot of jobs, and a lot of it is needed. And I think a lot of it helps. Some of this has a place, not the big evil. I wouldn't say that some people will put it out to be, because as I said, some of these robots and things like that, I think, can be used while you're sleeping, or if you got sick or something like that. It has a place, I think. The place that it doesn't have, though, is when it could be hacked. When it's a computer system that could completely be hacked and shut down, like we're witnessing right now. So I think if we need a time, like a test, right, to prove what I'm saying is actually true, that right now is it. These people are threatening to do more, to hack into systems and to do more disruption to us. So what do we use to combat things like that? Well, let's talk about that. But first I want to talk about, finish off on 2 stories I got here on my notes. One was that, and this kind of ties into how we can help each other. One was that I went to go check into my hotel room last year during the first week of Christmas. I did a job. I had to travel away to Los Angeles, away from Sunnyside, San Diego, where I live, and I went to check into my hotel. I was tired. I did a 14-hour day, and when I got there, their computer systems had crashed. There was a virus or something happened that just wasn't working. So they could not check me into my room. It was extended stay America. I paid. I had reservations and everything, and I was like, "Can you just write it down on paper and just give me an old-fashioned key?" And they says, "We can't even issue you a key. We don't have keys to the door." I think they had keys. They were just incompetent. That's how some of our youth is growing up. They don't know the old ways we're going to get into that could actually help them out. So they couldn't issue me a card to get it. You got to go find some other place. I was very ticked off. I was very tired, very upset. I just wanted to go to sleep, eat my dinner, and I could not. Yesterday, I was in a Rite Aid pharmacy, and I noticed an old man fidgeting, not necessarily that old, probably in his 60s, fidgeting with his card to pay for everything, and asked the old lady, and I just overheard him say, I just can't seem to understand these computers and this technology and stuff. Can you please help me? And she's helping him out. So the point that I looked at that is that there's a lot of people, myself included, where I am technologically handicapped. I lived in a third world country. That's no excuse, though, when I was a kid. But I grew up, and I think that that's always stayed with me. I've always been a little behind everybody. So a lot of things, I feel like throwing my laptop across the room, and things that would take me an entire day would probably take most of you guys like an hour. You guys would be able to figure it out. But I'm working on advancing. So I think that there's a place that I think that a lot of people who aren't technologically savvy should start to learn. But what I want to talk about here is an equilibrium. It's moving from consumer to producer. And we're going to talk a lot about this on the Resilient Living Podcast, because I think this is very, very strong. And I think that a lot of these people who aren't technologically advanced have not been trained to that. They haven't lived that. They lived in a cowgirl world. That's where I live. That's where my people come from, right? And they're able to produce things, but they don't understand the technology world. So the equilibrium I want to accomplish here is that a lot of people in the tech world, I've heard it a lot said, is that we use our brains, not our bronze. Although I'd like to say a lot of these people who are tech savvy have no bronze. That literally, my kid could beat your kid up. No, I'm just kidding. Jokes, folks. I told you guys there's going to be jokes. No, but seriously, a lot of us are able to produce food. We know what it is, how to process animals and meats, how to fish, forage, hunt, grow vegetables. We understand the changing of the seasons, that no year is the same, that things always change around, and you have to be on top of these things. So, you can get good crops one year, bad crops another year. So what good, do I ask, is a technologically savvy person who's doing good? I'm not saying anything bad about them. I think I said there's an equilibrium. But you're able to make all this money, and you're able to overlook these hill people while they do all the slavery for you, where they're able to learn how to, they know how to buy, like, grow me some food, clown, and I'll pay your paycheck for you. So you don't have the experience that they have. They don't have the experience that you have. We all need each other. But I think each individual, if you want to live a resilient life, should travel the path down the center where you have equal amounts of knowledge on how to grow and forage and do these things. You also need to stay up on what's going on in the world, because the masses are in the tech world. The masses are, our children have been evolving and have been educated by public education and other intellectual sectors of enterprises that are out there. And I think that people are mind imprinted, and in some cases mind washed, into thinking that this is the way life should be. We have this system right here and everybody should follow. And a lot of people do, but it's taking away from our lives of freedom, and our experiences, our relationship with nature is slowly being stripped from us, or we're being fooled. I think that we have an innate intuition and intelligence. We have this stuff encoded in the memory of our cells and our bodies, where we kind of know what to do. Like, when a plant's healthy, you see that vibrant, rich green, and you're like, that's a healthy plant. You have it in you already. We've forgotten a lot of it. We can't forget it all. It's in there. But we've been steered away from it. So I think that we need to have an equal, and there's not a lot of us people, I want to say. A lot of us hill cowboy, cowgirls, farmer people. There's more of the tech people. And I think that it's a monster that's not going to stop. This statement that I just made right now was one that I noticed was day before yesterday. I went to go get some water filtration systems to wash my car. This is how gross it is, right? Tap water just leaves. For those of you watching the show, I don't know if you guys can see my windshield or my window here. I guess not. It's completely just dried with minerals and chlorine and stuff all over. So I was getting these water filtration systems that's supposed to give your car a spotless wash. That in and of itself is a sick thing. Observation of just the drinking water that we have. But sicker than that was walking into the Walmart and seeing giant, vast amounts of plastic, the smell of plastic. It's been probably like a year and a half, I would say, or 2 years since I've been into a Walmart. And when I speak to this to friends and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, I know it's a lot of plastic, but anyway, they're not affected. So I guess just to say my type of people, where I come from, my aliens, I guess we'd say, because we're far few between, we see things like that and it makes us really sick to our stomachs. It hurts us like, what is going on here? And you look at all that, if you just, nobody bought any of that, where would all that plastic go? So I'd like to move on to, like, if you were an alien and you came here to planet Earth, right? And you looked at our technologically advanced systems that we have. And the alien asked us, so what do you guys do with your food? Like, how do you guys grow your food? Oh, we grow it in the ground. We stick our seeds and stuff. He's like, oh, that's cool. Well, what's that fog stuff that they're spraying all over the plants? Oh, that's a poison. Yeah, we have to poison the insects because they come to eat our crops. So we don't want to share with them. We can't share. We have to feed our people. I think it's a good point, too. Yeah, good point. But I noticed you guys got like these things like ladybugs and praying mantises and like beneficial insects. Yeah, well, unfortunately, everybody's got to go. Well, that's a pretty big field you guys got there. What is that, about 1,000 acres, 3,000 acres? Yeah, so you mean to tell me you just crop dust everything and kill everything? What about the animals that live in the ground and things like that? Oh, yeah. And then the residuals, they wash down from the rain that you guys have here on this planet. What happens with that? Oh, that gets washed into the streams. Well, then what happens? Like, I saw that Gulf of Mexico, that you guys got here. There's a big algae bloom, and that's caused by nitrogen. We do know that. But yeah, a lot of fish are dying. Actually, you guys call it the dead zone? Interesting. All right. Water. While we're on the concept of water, what do you guys do for water? Like, where do you get your drinking water? It looks like it's pretty important. Well, all of our streams, lakes, and most of even our groundwaters have been so far polluted because, you see, we poop. And we have these facilities that fix our poop. They treat it. Yeah. Where does the excess go? Well, it just gets dumped, leaches into the ground by leach systems in houses, and all that water goes, seeps into the ground. It makes wells very salty and things like that. But we have a solution. We're trying to save our planet by drinking our own pee. And I'm just going to say, the first time I'm swearing on this show, the S-H-I-T. We drink our own water and our own piss and shit water. Raw? No, of course not. We're not crazy. We process it and we put these chemicals and stuff in there and we do some crazy water filtration systems, right? There's parts per millions. We have been observing you guys for a while, the alien says, and we noticed that you guys, some people flush their medications down the toilet, such as birth control and psychiatric medications and stuff like that. Like, are these filtration systems able to filtrate stuff like that? Because we have some people who are a bunch of a-holes and they like to dump paint and chemicals, not to mention the Lysol and stuff that you guys use. And we did notice that you guys are changing the gender of the fish on the shorelines of the oceans just by the chemical that runs off of your guys' sunblock. That's very interesting. So again, on this water, you guys drinking your own piss and shit water, the microns in there, yeah, we've taken it apart and it's pretty safe. So you see what I mean, guys, when we look at things like this. Is our technological advancements actually helping, or is it disturbing us? Is it literally destroying us? I think it doesn't have to be that way. That's why we're here on the Resilient Living Podcast. Can we have an equilibrium, a marriage of technology and nature together? For a lot of you guys that don't know, a lot of technology, I'd say the majority, is actually inspired by nature. It's just that few people ever talk about it. It's called biomimicry. You guys can look that up. It's scientists looking at such things as the lens of a bug, the eyeball lens. That was incorporated in how to make solar panels in certain spacecraft. There was a train that would go through, I think it's Japan or something. I think it goes 200 miles per hour, something ridiculous speed, like a bullet. When it enters in through this cave that it has to be travel through, when it comes out the other end, it goes boom, like a sonic boom, and just literally scares the crap out of people. So they had to try to figure out a way to do this. They did this with a flying bird, with a fish, with aerodynamics and water. They invented this little nozzle thing that goes in the front of this train that cuts through the air just perfectly, that takes away the sonic boom. A lot of things have been designed by the observation of nature. So I think that technological people should not disregard nature. Nature is one of our greatest teacher. Those of us living in nature, excuse me, sometimes nature likes to throw curveballs at things. I think technologically we can use things such as food preservation and things like that, but we have to have an equilibrium. And I think the power that will happen in this day and age is for us as individuals to harness both, to look if this is the peace on earth that we can have. If we're able to grow a lot of our own food. For those that aren't technologically advanced, you don't really need to know technology when you're growing your own food. It's its own natural technology that we have embedded inside of our DNA. We have it there, we can't get rid of it. We all know, as I said, what a healthy plant looks like and what an unhealthy plant looks like. Well, guys, the 15 minutes we've already passed up. That's the show. If I brought you guys any value, please like and subscribe. Review this show to help me get this thing off the ground. But this is the Resilient Living Podcast, and you guys can go to resilientlivingpodcast.com. You guys can also email me at resilientlpodcast@gmail.com and comment. Let me know what you guys want to hear about. So guys, as I always say, the ending of the show, don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up.